What if I told you that everything you thought you knew about Diddy's perfect image is a carefully scripted lie? That behind those sunglasses, luxury yachts, and billion-dollar bravado, he's been hiding a flesh and blood secret he swore would never see the light of day. Well, too late, because Drake just blew the doors off this family secret on live camera and the internet. Oh, it's already in meltdown mode. Her name is Lyla, and she's not just some rumor swirling on Twitter. She's the alleged secret daughter Diddy never publicly acknowledged, never invited to the red carpets. And according to leaked documents we got our hands on, allegedly paid millions to keep quiet. But the gag is, she's not staying quiet anymore, so why is Drake, of all people, exposing this? Why now? And more importantly, why is Diddy's entire inner circle scrambling like cockroaches under stadium lights? Did Drake find something? Was this revenge? Or is there something even darker behind that smile we've all watched on stage for decades? Buckle up, because this is about to get ugly. Like legacy destroying ugly. Let's dive into the scandal Diddy never wanted you to hear, so let's start from the top. 1 minute, it's just another calm afternoon in celebrity land. And the next, boom, Drake casually drops a verbal grenade during what was supposed to be a chill Instagram live with his inner circle. You could see it in his eyes before he even said it. That sly smile. That little head nod like he was about to serve piping hot tea. And then he just said it. No warning. No filter. Just looked into the camera and said, I think it's time. People knew about Lyla. I'm not the type to hold secrets that aren't mine. But he's been hiding this girl like she don't exist. That's not right. And just like that, the world cracked open. Within seconds, clips of the moment spread like wildfire. Twitter went into cardiac arrest. TikTok detectives already pulling up screenshots, timestamps, and Google Maps coordinates. Reddit threads popped up with titles like Diddy's ghost child confirmed. And why was Drake the one to speak first? Because this wasn't just gossip. This was a direct challenge to one of the most powerful men in music, Sean Diddy Combs. The man who built an empire off of controlling the narrative. But not this time. And let's rewind for a second, because this isn't coming out of thin air. See, whispers of a secret child have followed Diddy for years. Ever since that messy court case with Misa Hilton and the tragic passing of Kim Porter, there were always murmurs that there was someone else. Someone he kept hidden. A child born under very specific, very inconvenient circumstances, and now we know. Her name is Lyla. Sources - yes. Multiple have come forward in the last 48 hours. A hairstylist in Miami who claims she once saw Diddy usher a young girl out the back of Live nightclub. A former assistant who says Diddy paid a mystery woman a monthly retainer through a shell company based in the Cayman Islands, and most damning of all, a now-deleted Instagram account allegedly belonging to Lyla herself, featuring cryptic posts like, "One day, they'll stop acting like I don't exist, but I promise I'm not going anywhere." Insert dramatic pause. The resemblance is unnerving. Dark eyes, sharp cheekbones, that signature smirk. People are already running side-by-side photos of Diddy and Lyla through facial recognition software. And let's just say, if that ain't his daughter, then biology needs a reboot. But the real question is, why now? Why did Drake decide to drop this bomb? And before you say he's just messy, let's not forget this is the same man who's been embroiled in cold wars with half the industry. Remember the Diddy slap incident? Oh yeah, let's not pretend that didn't happen. Back in 2014, sources say Diddy put hands on Drake outside a nightclub over the 0 to 100 beat. Since then, their relationship has been nothing but smoke and side-eyes, so when Drake talks especially about Diddy, it's not random, it's surgical. This man calculates his chaos, and just like that, the conspiracy web starts spinning. Some say Drake's timing was retaliation. Others think he's protecting someone close to Lyla, but the most jaw-dropping theory, that Drake found financial documents tying Diddy to hush money payments. And this was his way of publicly calling out what he couldn't say in court. Allegedly, of course. Don't sue us. Now here's where it gets really wild. Apparently, there was a recent studio session, and we're talking within the last 2 weeks, where both Drake and Lyla were present. Yep, one of our anonymous sources, a session engineer, claims Lyla was brought in under a fake name and introduced as an intern, but was later seen recording vocals on a secret track. A track that, get this, allegedly samples an old Diddy song. Coincidence? Not even remotely. Some are saying this was Drake's subtle way of giving Lyla a platform. A way of saying, you're not hiding her anymore. And if that's true, then that's more than a diss, it's a declaration of war, because make no mistake, Diddy's silence right now is deafening. He hasn't made a single statement. Not a tweet, not a story. His team, radio silence, which is unusual, to say the least. This is the same man who once dropped a 5-minute Instagram rant just because someone said his tequila was mid. So what's really going on behind the scenes? Insiders say Diddy's lawyers are already scrambling. One source even claims he's moved Lyla and her mother to a private compound in the Bahamas off the grid. No press access, and all digital trails scrubbed. If that's true, it only adds fuel to the fire. Meanwhile, Lyla herself still hasn't spoken publicly, but there are signs. A new private Instagram account was just created yesterday, and several verified celebrities, Drake included, are already following it. The bio simply reads, "Watch what happens next." If that isn't a warning shot, we don't know what is. And here's where things take an even darker turn. Remember the infamous Cassie lawsuit? The one that mysteriously vanished from headlines overnight? Well, legal analysts are now wondering if Lyla's existence was part of what Cassie wasn't allowed to say. A sealed portion of the settlement, perhaps, because if Diddy's empire is built on NDA after NDA, cover-up after cover-up, then Lyla might be the ticking time bomb no one saw coming. And Drake just lit the fuse. But this is only the beginning. Because while the internet is spiraling over who Lyla is, there's another question no one wants to ask. Who's her mother? And trust us, that's where things get nuclear. Because what we've uncovered about Lyla's mother is so shocking. It could flip Diddy's entire past upside down. Let's just say she's not some unknown. In fact, she might be someone you've seen on reality TV. Someone who used to be part of Diddy's inner circle. And if the rumors are true, this story's about to explode into something much, much bigger. Because what we've uncovered about Lyla's mother is so shocking, it could flip Diddy's entire past upside down. Let's just say she's not some unknown. In fact, she might be someone you've seen on reality TV. Someone who used to be part of Diddy's inner circle. Enter Melissa Ford. Yes that. Melissa Ford, former video vixen turned podcast queen. The same woman who graced hip-hop videos in the 2000s, who once shared a red carpet smirk with Diddy back in 2003, and who allegedly vanished from the music scene right around the same time Lyla was born. Coincidence? Hardly. A resurfaced clip from an old Bet backstage interview shows Melissa awkwardly dodging a question about her relationship with Diddy. She laughs, changes the subject, and nervously sips a drink while throwing a glance off camera, and guess who was standing behind that camera? Diddy's longtime bodyguard. You starting to see the picture? Insiders say Melissa and Diddy had a short but intense fling in the early 2000s, right around the same time Kim Porter and Diddy were allegedly on a break. Some say it was an industry secret, others say it was a full-blown war between the women behind the scenes. Whatever the case, Melissa disappeared from the spotlight for nearly 5 years afterward, and now, almost 2 decades later, her alleged daughter is on the verge of blowing up the internet. Now here's the real twist. Melissa never denied being Lyla's mother, but she's also never confirmed it. Multiple attempts to contact her for comment have been met with silence. But earlier this week, she posted a cryptic IG story with a black screen and the words, "All things hidden eventually come to light. Protect the ones you love." Then, deleted it 5 minutes later. Girl, but let's talk about Lyla for a second, because this isn't just some clout-chasing story. This young woman has reportedly been silently building her own career in the background. Low-key modeling gigs under fake names, a music demo that was briefly uploaded to SoundCloud, then scrubbed within 24 hours, even an appearance at a Revolt summit, where she was listed on a guest list under a fake identity. Revolt, Diddy's own company. You cannot make this up. And now, all signs point to the fact that Diddy was strategically placing her near the empire, just never publicly claiming her. Some believe he was grooming her to eventually step into the industry once the dust settled. Others say he hoped she'd just go away quietly. But with Drake putting her name in the streets, that plan is officially dead. Meanwhile, the internet has turned into a crime scene. TikTok is loaded with alleged sightings of Lyla and Diddy together in Paris, Miami, and even backstage at the 2022 Billboard Awards. One blurry clip even shows a young woman hugging Diddy and whispering something in his ear before disappearing into a crowd of security. People are calling it the hug heard round the world. But let's not pretend Diddy didn't know this day was coming. In fact, we now have reports from a former staff member who says Diddy had panic protocols in place for this exact scenario. Supposedly, there's a PR playbook labeled Lyla contingency sitting in a locked cabinet at one of his Los Angeles offices. Inside are drafted statements, talking points, and even fake interview questions meant to redirect the narrative. That's not just damage control, that's premeditation. And if that weren't wild enough, there's this. An anonymous hacker claims they've accessed a Dropbox account tied to one of Diddy's shell companies. Inside, files labeled L. Ford payouts, and a folder titled Confidential Guardianship. Now we're not saying it's real, we're saying it's out there. And the streets are watching. Legal experts are already whispering about fraud, paternity cover-ups, and possible violations of both IRS and corporate disclosure laws. Apparently, paying someone to keep a child hidden could fall under misuse of funds if done through a business. And here's where it gets nuclear. If the child was never disclosed in certain court filings or estate planning documents, Lyla could be legally entitled to a portion of Diddy's empire, which Forbes estimated at over $1 billion last year. This isn't just scandal. This is dynasty-level collapse waiting to happen. As pressure builds, major outlets are staying suspiciously quiet. TMZ hasn't touched it. The Shade Room posted and deleted within an hour. It's like everyone's scared to breathe on this story, but smaller outlets, independent journalists, and now even former bad boy insiders are cracking the surface. One source close to Diddy's former label says, "This is the bomb we've all been waiting for. Everyone knew there was something. Drake just said it out loud." Now Diddy's silence is doing more damage than a denial ever could, because while he hides, Drake's followers have turned into full-blown investigators, posting timelines, family tree diagrams, and even breaking down the lyric clues from past songs. Yes, Drake may have been teasing this for years. Remember the line from Diplomatic Immunity? "I see a budding star who ain't allowed to glow. Secrets in the cellar that you don't want them to know." Who was he talking about? Or the random mention of L in When to Say When? Some fans now believe these were breadcrumbs, leading to Lyla the whole time. And let's not forget the power play here. Drake's not just exposing a secret, he's possibly setting up a new artist. Rumors are swirling that he's helping Lyla sign to OVO Sound, and that a surprise single is already in the mixing phase. A song titled In My Blood has been registered under ASCAP with mysterious co-writing credits and a matching vocal sample that sounds exactly like Lyla's alleged voice. Imagine debuting your music career while simultaneously taking down the man who tried to erase you. That's not just revenge, that's a legacy rewrite. But not everyone's thrilled. People in Diddy's corner are starting to whisper. One former bad boy producer posted, "If she's real, we all gotta answer for what we ignored." Another ex-employee simply tweeted, "She was at the 2011 BET Awards. Look closely." Wait, what? Yup. Fans have already begun scrubbing old award show footage. One eagle-eyed viewer claims Lyla was seated in the third row behind Cassie in 2011. Right before the camera panned away. Freeze frame. Zoom in. It looks just like the woman in the leaked Lyla photos. And if that's true, if Diddy's been publicly dragging this girl around without naming her, then the conspiracy is far deeper than we imagined. Because that's not secrecy. That's manipulation on a generational scale. So where does it go from here? As of this moment, Diddy's camp is still on mute. No press release. No denial. No spin. But behind the scenes, trust us, phones are ringing. Attorneys are being summoned. Brands are sweating. And somewhere out there, Lyla is watching the whole thing unfold, probably for the first time in her life. Without having to hide. And we're only getting started. Because in the final chapter of this saga, we're diving into the financial cover-ups, the celebrity connections, and the real reason Diddy allegedly kept Lyla a secret for all these years. You thought it was bad. Now, just wait until you find out who else knew. You thought it was bad. Now, just wait until you find out who else knew. Because if you really believe Diddy was the only one aware of Lyla's existence all these years, think again. This wasn't just a one-man cover-up, it was an entire network of silence. And some of the names tied to this conspiracy, they're about to shock you. Let's start with the obvious. Cassie. For years, she was Diddy's on and off queen, always in the spotlight, always by his side. But according to two former bodyguards and one hairstylist who worked during her prime years, Cassie absolutely knew about Lyla. One source even claims she used to leave the room when Lyla came by the mansion. Not because of jealousy, but because she wasn't allowed to ask questions. One assistant said, Cassie had boundaries. She knew what she could ask about and what would get her cut off. Then there's Kim Porter's family. We already know Kim and Diddy had a complex relationship, but rumors are now swirling that Kim found out about Lyla in the late 2000s, and that a heated confrontation happened behind closed doors. A fight that allegedly ended with Kim threatening to take full custody of their children unless Diddy fixed his mess. A month later, Diddy reportedly bought Kim a house in the Hamptons, fully paid in cash. And that's not even the wildest part. You remember the Ciroc campaign in 2012? The glossy, high-budget ad shoot that featured Diddy surrounded by a new wave of artists and influencers. Look closely at the behind-the-scenes footage. There's a teenage girl sitting in the corner, holding a clipboard, shadowing the director. According to a former intern on set, she wasn't on the official crew list. She was Diddy's niece, that's what they were told. That girl, Lyla. It was never about keeping her away. It was about controlling how, when, and if the world would ever know she existed. Diddy's brand is built on being the image. Father of 6, business mogul, icon throw in a secret daughter born from an affair with a public figure, and suddenly that image starts to crack. But what happens when the cracks start bleeding? According to a legal document obtained by an anonymous Reddit whistleblower, there's an ongoing investigation, quiet, sealed, and very real, into financial transactions between Combs Enterprises and 3 unknown LLCs. These LLCs have allegedly been funneling payments to a trust listed under the name LMF. Multiple financial journalists now speculate that LMF could stand for Lyla Melissa Ford. And if that proves true, Diddy could be facing allegations of financial concealment, wire fraud, and tax evasion. The IRS doesn't care why you hide money. They care that you did. Even more chilling, one of the files contained what appears to be a digital non-disclosure agreement signed by Melissa Ford herself in 2005. It includes a clause titled Eventual Disclosure Timeline, which outlines how and when Diddy might gradually introduce Lyla to the public once the time is safe. Safe for what? His reputation? His money? Or something deeper? Some believe it goes far beyond money or fame. That Diddy feared Lyla might be used against him by rival industry figures. That if the wrong people found out, it could blow open other secrets tied to his past, things he's buried under layers of lawyers and settlements. A popular podcast recently speculated that Lyla's exposure could be the domino that triggers multiple lawsuits. Women allegedly paid off, witnesses silenced, and now his own daughter, no longer playing by the script. And then, there's J-Z. Yes, Hav, Diddy's longtime friend, business partner, and industry ally. Word on the street is that Jay has known about Lyla since 2015. One music exec claims, Jay even warned Diddy to take care of it before someone else does. But what did Diddy do instead? He kept dodging, denying, deflecting until Drake, of all people, stepped in and nuked the whole thing. And get this, just hours after Drake's statement went viral, Jay-Z unfollowed Diddy on Instagram. Coincidence? Probably not. Beyoncé's SBR team has reportedly advised Jay to distance himself from any lingering mess until further facts emerge. Now the dominoes are falling. Sponsors are pulling back. A luxury liquor brand supposedly postponed a deal worth $20 million, citing reputational risk. Diddy's team has gone dark. And behind the scenes, multiple publications have confirmed that 2 ex-employees of Combs Enterprises have been subpoenaed for sealed depositions. So what happens now? Well, Lyla's stepping into the spotlight whether Diddy likes it or not. Sources say she's now in talks for her first exclusive interview. The network circling Oprah's camp allegedly reached out. So did The Breakfast Club. But the real kicker, a Netflix documentary pitch is already in motion, titled The Daughter He Hid. But what about Diddy himself? Is he preparing to speak? Will he deny, confirm, or like always try to flip the narrative in his favor? We've seen this playbook before: deny, redirect, blame, settle, then throw a lavish party. Like nothing happened. But Lyla's not a lawsuit. She's not a scandal. She's a person, and the longer he stays silent, the more the world sees his empire for what it really is: a machine built on controlling the narrative, no matter the human cost. Drake may have just cracked the glass, but Lyla, she's the hammer. And if that wasn't enough to shake the table, let's end on the most shocking revelation of all. In a leaked voicemail, yes, you heard that right, on, anonymous tipster sent us what they claim is an old voice recording from Diddy to Melissa. The message is low, tense, and chilling. You said you wouldn't say nothing. I told you, if she ever talks, they'll come for me. Not just the blogs, the ones watching everything. You think I'm paranoid, but I've seen what they do to people with secrets like mine. Now we don't know what they means. But if Diddy's own words suggest a deeper power lurking behind all this, then Lyla's reveal might be the first domino in something far bigger than we can imagine. Is this about a daughter, or is this about an entire industry built on silence? Decide. So now that the mask has slipped, what do you believe? Is Lyla really the daughter Diddy spent decades hiding? Did Melissa Ford silently carry the secret to protect her child? Or to protect his empire? And why did Drake, of all people, risk everything to bring this to the surface now? We're not just talking about tabloid drama anymore. We're talking about bloodlines, legacies, billion-dollar lies, and an industry that has profited off silence. 4 years. And now, the silence is breaking, so ask yourself, if someone like Diddy with all that power, all those connections, all those lawyers can still be exposed by a single sentence from Drake, then what else is out there waiting to explode? What other Lylas are living in the shadows of these so-called moguls? What other truths are being buried beneath the red carpets and private jets? This isn't just a story, it's a warning. And if you're not watching closely, you'll miss the next bomb before it drops. So here's what you need to do. Like this video if you're tired of the fake family man. Comment below, do you believe Lyla is Diddy's daughter? And if so, what should happen next? And don't forget to subscribe, because trust us, the secrets coming next are even uglier than this. The truth doesn't knock politely. It kicks the door in, and we're here to show you everything they never wanted you to see. We'll be watching the fallout. Stay tuned, because the story is far from over.